What's up, everyone? Good time of the day or night or whatever it might be. How's it going, Wahab, on your side?
Oh, you know what they say? A wise man once told me,
Yeah.
just another day in paradise.
Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, how's the weather now in paradise on your side, by the way?
I mean, a little hot. We hit 40 degrees Celsius today.
Okay.
Yeah, a little strong. Pack some sunscreen. Not too
Yeah,
bad. Stay
that's a good
hydrated.
idea. So it's getting warmer here as well. So we're gonna like about 22 Celsius, and I'm gonna obtain a little bit of the zinc oxide sunblock. Actually, I hear it's good for your hormones and stuff. So yeah, we'll see how that's gonna go. And yeah, so one of the things that we need to think about is kind of the summer is almost around the corner, June 1st, and there is another period to execute some exciting projects and succeed. So that's what we need to think about today, how to grow in what we do in a successful fashion and attain those goals. So yeah, let's consider those items. Yeah.
Exactly. And
What do
just
we have?
like, yeah, and just like any sort of plan, or I guess, meal you want to cook,
Oh yeah.
you need some recipes, some ingredients. And then once you have that whole list and you get to it, you can choose to follow a guide online on, let's say, making cheesecakes.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, you
That's
know,
that's a, that's a good goal. Yeah, that's not very easy, but yeah, simple enough, I guess, to just get after and succeed at this.
exactly. Kind of contradicts with the whole healthiness, we've been promoting the earlier episodes.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
But
not always you can be like that. So yeah, we'll actually talk about this, about those adjustments in your success journey. But yeah, sometimes it's okay to get cheesecake in or something alongside with the steaks and whatever else you might be eating, vegetables, dal. I don't know.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah. So
you
sometimes
have
it's
to
all
treat
about
yourself.
variety.
Yeah, you have to treat yourself sometimes. And other ways, what you can do is sort of find the perfect balance in between it, rather than, taking an easy option and just ordering it online. Why not learn how to make your own desserts?
Yeah, that can be
Uh,
the motivation, yeah, to become like a good home cook, which might not necessarily be something that many people do, but yeah, if you are there, then yeah, you open some new avenues previously unknown to yourself.
yeah, and it was honestly like the last thing I expected. But we tried it once, and just like any first time, trying to cook something you've never really done before, you
Yeah.
have like a recipe guide, either like a cookbook or like on your phone video, whatever. You constantly look back and forth to it, making sure you're following the steps right. You have the exact number of ingredients and measurements that they're asking of you. And then, you put it all together, you follow the ingredients right, but then you realize the bowl you're using is different than the bowl they're showing you in the video.
Oh
So now
yeah, that
yeah.
happened.
And, cheesecake came out nice, definitely could use improvements, but it just wasn't enough. My plate was simply bigger.
Yeah.
And then taking it up on the second time, I'm now, adjusting, adding more of certain ingredients to compensate like the emptiness. And now it's way better. And this got me thinking like, the process and steps needed to like make a cheesecake started out by reading online because I never would have guessed this on my own. And then starting from there, I get to see, okay, what exactly do I have to do first? And then what do I have to follow along to be able to get to that end result?
Yeah. In the words of Aziz, there is no one size fits all situation when it comes to forging your path to success.
Exactly.
in
Like,
whatever you are doing, even if it is just about cooking some sort of dish, right? Let alone, let's say, building a company or a business or something like that.
yeah, it could be like a variety of almost anything. This is a big planet and there's so many activities or like habits you can do. But that idea of like, no one size fits all. Like I was following a guide of basically
Yeah.
someone else doing it. And then pretty much after doing it like, 3 times, getting more comfortable with the habits and patterns, I'm now able to be like, okay, I know exactly how much I need for a medium-sized tray, how much I need if I'm gonna, make it for a large group of people. And what happens is like, yeah, simply for connecting it like habits that you want to take upon for improving yourself, you don't just, go about without like a guide or like ingredients or recipe list and then expecting, to end up with like, let's connect it back to the cheesecake.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this kind of thinking that something that you see will exactly fit your life is not necessarily good, right? Sometimes, yeah, it could be just a very straightforward process, and then you'll just apply it to yourself, and then it's done. For example, how to pump up or inflate a tire, for example, in my car. So, well, I have this pump, right? So I'll attach the hose of the pump to the tire of the car. I'll follow the certain pressure, right, which I'll see on the barometer or manometer or whatever it is, a pressure readout, basically a pressure gauge on the pump. And then, yeah, I'll be good, right? So, okay, I achieve like 3.8 bars, right, in the tire, and I'm good to go. But when it comes to like, if we level up a little bit to the cheesecake or maybe some sort of like personal development challenge, then yeah, so you need to like make sure that it's kind of like going to fit your situation and make it kind of fit your situation to some extent, right? So, and then there could be, for example, various recipes or various challenges that you can take, but it doesn't mean that this particular challenge is going to fit your current state of life. So yeah, maybe you will not do, let's say, some sort of 100 days of waking up at 4 a.m. every day. So, but you can do something more realistic for yourself, right? So I'm just speaking from my own experience. Maybe it's going to be, okay, well, I'll be waking up by 8 a.m. over the course of 50 days to develop this habit. And then maybe at some point I'll introduce, okay, 100 days of waking up at 6 a.m., things like that. So yeah, to some extent, we need to make adjustments, or you want to more or less rigidly follow some guidelines, we might just choose another recipe or another set of guidelines.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can read so many like, books or like online articles or just, hear from other people's experience, and they'll all, this is just an assumption. Like, let's take, for example, that you are now finding a lot of people who are like saying waking up at 6 a.m. like changed my life. Like, oh, let's make it earlier. Let's say like 5 a.m., 4 a.m. Like just
Yes.
waking up super early in order to like exercise, do something healthy, have a big breakfast, journal, um, take like a cold shower. Like you'll find a lot of people, and this is just a general assumption, like I'm just saying this as an example. Like you will hear, let's say, 100 people say that this now changed their lives and they're the most productive people ever. But then let's say you also find another 100 people that are now saying actually waking up at 7 a.m., taking a hot shower, and then doing like something very simple, maybe a very few amount of push-ups or like some yoga and then some meditation, and then go about my day. And then when I'm done from, let's say, work or their job, go to the gym, do some exercise, whether it's running, lifting weights, powerlifting, a martial art, or just anything else, like, triathlon, just something in like the wide field of fitness. And then coming back home and being like, then I'll be able to eat. Like, you have so many different, let's say, recipes for success or recipes for growth
Yeah.
that, you know, it's kind of like an information overload. You're like, oh, which one do I choose? Which one is best? Like, that's the
Does
trick.
happen.
Yeah, you need to find like what works with you. You know, like at first, I definitely tried like waking up at 4 a.m. and then it wasn't really compatible all the time. I definitely had some days where I need to stay up late, and then getting like 4 hours of sleep wasn't cutting it for me. There are
Yes.
people that can do it, that can function and like complete it. And if that works with you, then keep doing it. But if you find that it really like impacts your performance, it impacts your ability to operate, then that isn't really the best course of action. You definitely want to try another recipe.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, yeah, I think it's important to kind of hit the balance in this situation. You find something that works for you, right? So maybe it's not going to be like a very extreme self-development program. Maybe it's going to be something more mild, not waking up over the course of 100 days at 6 a.m., but waking up by or before 8 a.m. over the course of 50 days, for example, right? Something more kind of like easy to do, looks like, but at the same time, it's going to be a good idea if you follow the rules of that challenge or something like that. Because if you say, how about we take 2 days off and then we'll be partying over the course of those 2 days, and there's going to be no talk about 8 a.m. and then it becomes kind of regular thing over the course of 50 days. Not good either. So yeah, there's something to keep in mind. So you need to choose something that is good for you, but try not to modify it too much. Otherwise, it's not gonna. This challenge will lose its point. Just like the recipe. If you all of a sudden starts putting some peas into the cheesecake, then well, it will become more like a shepherd's cheesecake or something like this.
This has gone too far. Like nowadays.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, and then since we kind of like look into those details already, so every recipe or every sort of process in which you're trying to achieve success, oh yeah, there's going to be some goal at the end, maybe like a very tasty, nutritious, and helpful homemade cheesecake, right? Or maybe it's going to be, let's say, better me after completing 50-day challenge. By the way, shout out to Project 50 from Germany. That's going to be a life-changing experience, which I'll hopefully undertake starting June 1. So I hope. Anyway, so yeah, there are those intermediate steps, right? Intermediate steps that go from the initial motivation, which I think doesn't last that long. It's just a point, right? Oh yeah, I'm motivated to do something. And then there is going to be the goal somewhere down the line. But then there is that stuff in between the motivation and the spark, right? And then the final goals. So what are those? Those are intermediate steps. What about them?
Yeah, like, let's relate it back to the best example ever, making a cheesecake.
Yeah,
like
that's a versatile one. That's for sure.
Like, you have all the ingredients, you have the recipe ready.
Yeah.
You have all the tools and utensils you need to make it. But right now, like making the homemade jam, you have to chop up the fruits, you have to put it all in like a pot, a little bit of water, lemon juice, some sugar, and then cornstarch, smash it all together, and then boil it up, let it turn into like a thick paste, and then move it. You can, skip a few steps, but then that homemade jam isn't going to be the best quality. In the cheesecake, you can skip the part of like whisking the sugar together. And then what happens is you're going to get a very salty cheesecake, which is not fun to eat.
Yeah.
So like, that's just one simple step out. And like, making a cheesecake is like pretty simple analogy because, it's a very important step in making it. But then let's connect it to like a plan you have yourself to like for improvement, for growth.
Yes.
And let's say that, you want to be able to do more pull-ups. Like every day you'll try to do like one, let's say you can't do one, so you try to do negatives.
Mhm.
What happens is, let's say you do like days 1 to 7, but now, on the 8th day, you're feeling really sore.
Yeah,
You can probably,
inevitable.
yeah, you can probably do it. But right now, you're just saying like, rest day would just feel great right now. And then you take one, and then you kind of let that turn to 2 to 3 to 4. Like you're right now skipping, completing like, a process or a challenge. And it affects the bigger goal you have in mind, which is, let's say, do 10 consecutive pull-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. So you can think about something, right? So yeah, maybe, yeah, if you think about the cheesecake as your end goal, and then let's say you did not make the jam good enough, so then this damages the overall picture or no flavor and this taste profile of the cheesecake. So, and the same thing with the push-ups, right? Or some sort of yeah, not following the program exactly, right? So you might not be able to achieve what the program wants you to achieve. Maybe it's going to be the state of, yeah, good physique, for example, or good high mental toughness if you start skipping and then, yeah, taking those unscheduled days off and things like that. So yeah, so basically we must make sure that we don't cut corners, right? Either the recipe for the cheesecake, right? So something that is kind of very tangible, or be that kind of like your development of the self, right? Where you want to attain maybe higher fitness goals, for instance, right? Maybe, yeah, the number of push-ups that you're going to do, or pull-ups, or maybe lifting some particular weights, things like that. So the list can go on and on and on. Yeah, so that's kind of like the important point that might be also kind of actually the longest part of this journey, is taking care of the intermediate steps. Because yeah, again, well, the goal will be there at some point, we'll celebrate, and that's it. It's not going to be like a very long time, right? Not like a year-long celebration or something. Motivation, the original spark is also kind of, yeah, goes away pretty fast, maybe goes for a day, but then it's going to be this journey that is going to be there. And if you enjoy this journey, enjoy the intermediate steps, and then put the efforts into them, then you will feel better for the longest period of time in this process, basically.
Yeah, and it's definitely easier to just say like, oh, don't skip steps. But then, sometimes we do have to take a few steps back to be able to see like a bigger picture. Like on the pull-up example, on being
Yeah.
too sore to be able to do it the next day. But then, maybe sometimes we'll be like, okay, why am I too sore? Well, it could be for a number of reasons. Maybe my
That's a good
muscles
point.
are just overused and I do genuinely need rest. Maybe, I'm not eating enough proteins. Now my body is not really recovering and building muscle better.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm tired because I didn't, sleep well. I didn't sleep well because I've been using my phone all night long. Like, what you want to do is like be able to read,
Maybe
like,
you ate too many
take a few
cheesecakes.
steps back. Maybe I had the cheesecake right before bed, which I absolutely don't recommend because this will definitely mess up your sleep schedule. Like, you want to be able to take a few steps back to be able to see what you're doing. Because if you kind of just like go, in a state of mind where you just, don't care or not, keeping track of time, just, um, to sort of let the day go by just for the sake of letting it go by, then you're doing things like without caring, without passion almost.
Yeah, it feels mechanical, right, to some extent, which is also not good. So if you just go through the motion, then yeah, you looks like you are not enjoying the journey. Yes, you had some motivation, you will probably have a good time achieving the goal, but let's say it's going to be only 2 steps out of 100, right? And then 98 steps are kind of done half with passion, and the good feelings, right? The good intent, half without them, then yeah, that's not a really enjoyable process, I would say. Maybe you should, yeah, reconsider and then scratch everything and choose the entire program differently, right? Or maybe instead of the cheesecake, you'll be like making a soup or something like that. So that could also be the case. So yeah, sometimes, yeah, once one door shuts, the other door opens, as cliche as it sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, the adjustments along the way are very, very much necessary. So when we can just kind of, yeah, that kind of like boils down to this point that we made before of the self-auditing, I would say, right? You just need to ask yourself, so how am I doing? Right? So is what I'm doing good, or is it like too crazy and then too unsustainable? Maybe you can also ask the opinion of other people, right? So maybe went through that and then they could share some advice. So yeah, and then I think if anything, you'll be only better after this kind of like self-assessment, some sort of stop, pause, check, and adjustment process.
Yeah. And, in the end of the day, we're all human, and it's perfectly okay to have, like, sometimes where you do feel overwhelmed, whether it could be like,
Exactly.
job, school, outside pressures, like society, family, friends. It's perfectly fine to like feel, overwhelmed through like obligations and responsibilities. But then, sort
Yeah.
of like trying to make cheesecake. It started out sort of something as like, oh, here's this thing I saw online. And after a few days of going, what if I made that?
Yeah.
You know, like just trying something out, trying something different, being able to like be comfortable with taking risks makes me more comfortable with the risks I'm taking and being able to take more.
That's
Like the
big.
first time making it, it'd be like, oh, is this the exact ingredient I have? What if it's a different type of, cream cheese I need? What if it's a different brand of sugar? And then, going along with the whole process, trying it out, and then having it be like good. I'm like, okay, it's good. Plate wasn't, plate was too big. Fix that up next time. Try it again next time. But this time, like, I'm not really looking back and forth in a guide, just doing it not from memory, but from instinct now. Cause like, you've done it before. And the more and more you do it, the more and more you'd be like comfortable taking risks. Like now, instead of being like, oh, doing homemade strawberry jam, why not mix up? Let's try mango now. See how that works out.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
worst, yeah,
that's
like
right.
the worst I can be in that case is wrong. And being wrong in that scenario doesn't really have a big risk. Like it's a good experiment, can try it out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, go back to the drawing board. But being able to be okay with, getting something wrong and still loving the act of doing it shows that like, it's something you're passionate about. And at the end of the day, like you don't really have a passion, then you're doing something regardless of how you feel about it that day. Like, sure, some days I'll be like, oh, I had to keep my mouth open and like brag on social media about how good my cheesecake is. Now people are requesting it, so I have to make more, and then it's like, oh, now I have to make a cheesecake. And, instead of that extra hour of my day that I have to make it, watching TV now has to be to like making it. While I'm doing it, I just have this thing in the back of my mind that I can't, you know, cut corners or skip a few steps because then the quality will go down and it's like not part of what's the word, like my standards. Like this isn't the type of quality I want to put out in something I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then that, yeah, that can like help reinforce, like, give something your all if you truly care about it.
Yeah, that is a good idea, good thought. So yeah, once you embark on something, yeah, I was kind of like thinking about that. Yeah, there's going to be this motivation. Maybe it's like one step out of 100, but also there is this overcoming of the sense of risk, I think, because you might think, okay, what if I, yeah, fail in that cheesecake making, right? Or maybe if we think about this Project 50, which was, in my opinion, one of the most realistic challenges for self-development and the skill learning, where you kind of like wake up, like one of the things is waking up before 8 a.m. I just mentioned a specific project, specific challenge example, I would say, and also video log yourself for 50 days in a row, and then you need to publish like a reel every day on Instagram. So that'll be, oh my, so that's so much work. But then, yeah, you need to get through this risk. And then, yeah, so you will see what this realm looks like for yourself. Maybe you'll find something new. And yeah, maybe you will really be passionate about that, right? So, and then even if there's going to be the days when it feels like work to, yeah, make the cheesecake, right? Or to make the video log under a minute long every day, and could feel like a like some sort of work, then yeah, if you have the passion about what you do, then it will help you carry on through the tough times. So yeah, because conceivably not every day when you do something that you're passionate about is going to be successful. Sometimes, yeah, you might be sore, or maybe just the ingredients will not mix, right? Or maybe you'll make some error. Maybe you'll be tired and overwhelmed by something else. So yeah, in that case, so you think that's kind of the passion, right, that will help us carry through?
Yeah, like if you want to connect it to, let's say, a fitness goal.
Yes.
Like if I'm passionate about my health and passionate about that's pretty general. Now let's find a way to make this specific in a way. Like let's say
passionate about lifting of the heavy objects or something.
Yeah, like powerlifting, let's say.
Yeah.
Like someone who's passionate will not just walk into a gym blind with no plan, just like lift as heavy as you possibly can without doing it in a correct form, and then end up injuring yourself. Like, you'd put time even outside the gym to like learn and study, to like, see different programs and routines, see what works for the really famous and successful athletes versus what works best with you. Maybe you have different genetic factors where some areas of strength, you have better than others. So you might want to focus on these areas more and then double down on your weaknesses. And that might, differentiate from like a famous powerlifter's program. So, you'd have to readjust for yourself. Like having that passion would mean all the time and effort I'm putting into this, like I'm visualizing an outcome where, let's say, like in a powerlifting goal, like, oh, I'm now stronger. My numbers are going up. Whether it's a competition you want to compete in, like, getting ready for that, learning how to maintain weight properly. That takes you into a whole other field of, proper dieting and nutrition, trying to like understand that as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's very important to draw some borders, right, between like things that you do and you don't do. For example, let's say if I take the example of some sports such as lacrosse. Okay, well, I have no passion about lacrosse. Sorry, lacrosse. Passionate people. So, and then that's something that I don't do, right? So it's just, okay, well, I decided, okay, does it kind of go through the passion check? Yes, no, right? So in that case, I'm not doing lacrosse. But let's say if it is, for instance, so we're executing this project of live hackers on YouTube and social media, right? Project to bring the value to the people's lives, to bring the light to them, of sharing our experiments in life and how we hopefully achieve success. Yeah, we do achieve success.
I hope we're doing it right.
Yeah, there will be more. So yeah, but yeah, we'll adjust. So we just said it.
Yeah.
So how to achieve success in what we do in particular. So yeah, speaking of self-help, so then yeah, I will realize that, yeah, well, there will be lots of impediments on this way. right? So if I undertake project 50, for example, this German self-improvement project, then yeah, well, video login seems exciting. I need to kind of like do this and that, like video log everything, but then yeah, there will be some doubts. Okay, well, will I be able to learn this software, how to put the clips together? So will they look good? Will people laugh? So will they kind of like viciously criticize me? So, or will I not catch up with the algorithm of Instagram and then like fall behind completely and then fail it all? So yeah, this will kind of always be there, or maybe I'll be too overwhelmed with other things, and then, oh yeah, on top of that I also need to make like a video log every day over the course of 50 days. So yeah, that's like very easy to envision those negative things, and then they will always be there. So it's something to keep in mind. But yeah, if we have the underlying passion, then we will be able to get through that and change the world to the better, ultimately.
Yeah, and if you can't change the world, definitely start with changing yourself. Easiest step, and a lot easier said than done. And a great way, I guess, to wrap this up, unless you want to add anything more to it,
I
is
think we have a
find.
good amount of pumped up content.
Yeah, and if anything, we can always make like a part 2 if we miss anything.
Yeah,
but a great
let us know
way.
in the comments.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our channel. All those words.
Please, or don't, or let us know what's missing. But yeah,
Thank you.
I never really envisioned that I'd be making cheesecakes. It contradicts the whole healthy eating idea. But we made one, then one turned to two, then two turned to three, and now we're at 7 or 8. But making these, of quality, and this sounds like I'm bragging and not being humble, but you have to try my cheesecake. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, I just thought about that. I need to give it a try at some point once we reconvene.
Yeah, it's like, when you make something that you yourself are proud of and that you yourself know that the quality is good. And I'm trying to say this in a non-bragging way, just to not be like, my cheesecakes are the best. Cheesecake Factory can't even compete with me right now. But like, it's the quality that I know that the effort I'm putting and the work I'm doing is coming out good. Like, and that itself, brings you the feeling of accomplishment. Like, hey, that's another cheesecake I did that's better than the last one. This is good. Why not another one?
Yeah, that's a good example. It can be this kind of like line of thinking can be applied to a lot of things, right? Even if, let's say, well, I will play a game of lacrosse and then I will not care about this at all. Okay, I played and okay, well, it doesn't make you feel in any way, right? Positive or negative. I'm just completely dispassionate. Actually, that's another good word here about this. Okay, so what, right? But then, for example, another day, and by the way, check out my Instagram page that is devoted to the growing of this channel as well, right? At Jovial Russian. Hopefully you'll be able to find it from hearing that. So anyway,
we'll put it in the description.
Sorry?
I was just saying, but like we'll put it in the description or in the description of the channel.
That's a good point. So yeah, basically I made, let's say, the first edited really video. It was just a reel, right? But still, I think it's a good start for which I used this VN software. By the way, shout out to VN. Thank you very much for providing that for free to the people so they can make their videos. And then, yeah, I felt very good about that, even if I understand that, okay, well, it's not going to be like an Oscar and award-winning movie or something, but I felt very positive about that. And I felt like okay, well, I did make a good step. And about this step, I'm very happy and glad and passionate about that I made this properly edited reel, the introduction, and the titles and subtitles and whatever it might be. Yeah. Check how you feel about that and adjust and carry on. And there will be success.
Great 2 words, adjusting and carry on.
Yeah.
Because if I just simply looked at the first cheesecake I made and been like, oh, I didn't plan it right. The plate is too big. There's not enough cheesecake. It's just awkwardly sized now.
Yeah.
And then gave up from there.
Oh yeah.
Then we
Happens a
wouldn't
lot.
be where we are now. So be patient, adjust, adapt, take a few steps back, look at the bigger picture. You do have to take a few steps back in order to take like more steps forward. But at the same time, don't be tempted to skip or cut corners, because that does compromise the quality of the goal and it will show.
Yeah.
Like, even in a matter of, let's say, your job or fitness or making a cheesecake, like if I cut corners and didn't add sugar, the cheese then would just be like salty cheesecake, and that would not even get off the shelf.
Exactly. Yeah, so we all know deep down what we need to do, and at some point we just need to hear about others' experiences about what they have been doing, such as us, for example. We are bringing to you those life hacking elements for your enjoyment and hopefully education, and getting some sort of important and actionable value for yourself. So, by the way, dialing back to our previous episode about gratitude, please check out information in the description, the channel or the page of Janis Werner. He's a great motivational person from whom I learned quite a bit about gratitude from his content. It was not a lot of content of that nature, but it just hit the spot exactly with
the quality of content.
One quality reel or something, maybe even a story. So, but it's amazing how something small can largely impact your life and give you some good ideas, in particular about producing an episode, for instance, right? Or maybe you'll be able to apply something in your life after just being exposed to that a little bit. So pay attention to the details and succeed even more.
I agree.
Well, I think, yeah, that's it. That's all I want to share for now. So I'm sure there is going to be even more information that we can potentially bring to you guys and gals about how the growth is going, kind of all those intermediate steps, because that's the entire other bog or marsh or whatever it might be with which we can deal. And yeah, get into those details, into those weeds even more down the line, however. So
definitely.
at this point, we should be good. So are
Comment
we
what we're
by
missing.
anybody? Sorry?
Today, we are sponsored by.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. So
yes.
yeah, if you want to get some of those amazing rash guards, let me know. And yeah, thank you for Matt Monkey Fightwear. Yeah, this is a great company, great producer of excellent quality rash guards.
Super
well design. They can put it together very nicely and yeah, give you some high quality gear for sports actually to sustain your growth and success.
The best quality ever made.
Indeed. All right. Well, happy Monday at this point, and bye everyone.
Get after these simple recipes for growth. Very simple to implement. Just take some tender love and care.